there's just more chances to have a viral moment when they promote on a music show, it seems. Howdy Meowers, welcome back to the BlushCat podcast. My name is Pagatraya, Amandanson, Makkronnie, Yartkinfin.
Hi everybody, my name is Devin. How's everybody doing today? That's one of the longest names I've ever heard.
You can call me Pammy for short if that's easier for you.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be easier.
Okay, well, I'm here today to talk about something with you.
Yeah, you're here to talk about K-pop music shows. Is that okay with you, Pammy?
It will have to be okay with me because I'm here, aren't I? And that's what we're talking about, K-pop music shows.
So, basically this is going to be sort of a freestyle topic. Well, not freestyle. It's going to be a more casual topic that we're talking about today. We just, this is sort of a little bit of a more unique point, of K-pop. It's like something that they have and that they do. And we just wanted to talk about it. I mean, I'm sure there's been iterations that are similar to this, like MTV, what was that? Was it on MTV? There was a show. Maybe you guys are familiar with it.
Yeah, like you're saying, music shows, other places have done this.
Right. Yeah, like I'm saying, there's probably similar things that you know of, but I don't know if it would be considered as like standard as the K-pop music shows. Like those other music shows, maybe if you're familiar with any other ones, they might be more like seldom than frequent, things like that. So we're gonna talk about all that today.
We're sort of going to explain music shows, how they work, in case you know nothing about it at all. Like, that's kind of what the whole episode will be like, explaining music shows as if you don't really know anything about them. But we're not going to be getting into like, a super serious side. Like, we're not giving insider information on music shows.
I wish.
We're just kind of talking about them casually.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Yeah. So, should we start by listing the music shows that exist?
Okay, yes, that sounds good. Because there are a few different networks that all run a music show of their own.
Yes, so there are actually 7 music shows that are like considered the regular music shows. But honestly, one of them it doesn't work the same way as the other ones, and that's simply K-pop, because it doesn't actually have like a system to win. And so it's not like, that one's the rarest for groups to go on. But there's Inkigayo, The Show, Show Champion, M Countdown, Music Bank, and Music Core. And that's like, those each air one day of the week, Sunday to Saturday. So those are the music shows.
Anyone else that thought they were going to make a music show, they're like, what day would we do it? All the days are taken.
Yeah.
I mean, if there are other music shows, here or there, they're going to be smaller ones or less, relevant to like a more, indie, maybe. So we're talking about the big ones here.
Yeah, and it's not exactly like, other ones aren't exactly the same format or style. Right. So it doesn't really relate to everything that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. And also, the naming, it can be a little overwhelming maybe because there's a bit of crossover. So don't get it confused. The Show is different than Show Champion. Music Core is different from Music Bank. Okay, you have to keep these things straight.
Yes. And Inkigayo and The Show are both programs run by SBS, which is like one of the main broadcasting channels in Korea. The other main broadcasting channels are MBC and KBS in terms of the music show realm. And so Show Champ and Music Core, Show Champion, Show Music Core, are both MBC programs, and then Music Bank is KBS. So Music Bank, Music Core, and Inkigayo are like the 3 big ones because they're all broadcast on like regular television to everyone.
Yes, so very relevant, very like this isn't oh, I'm going to specifically watch K-pop. It's like I could turn on the TV at any time and see this.
Yeah. So now let's just explain why idols would go on a music show and what they do on the music show.
Okay, yes. So obviously they go to promote their song. Like if they have a new song, they go on a music show. That's kind of like an expectation most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least for, like title tracks.
Yes.
But sometimes they'll do a pre-release song. Sometimes they'll do a B-side song, right?
Right. Especially like they'll call it like follow-up promotions when they do a B-side. Like sometimes they do it right alongside the title track at the same time, but sometimes they'll do their title track for a while and then maybe they'll take a week off and come back and do a B-side or something like that.
I feel like that's actually like a lot more common nowadays. Like that people do it that way. So they kind of have like 2 rounds, like 2 mini rounds.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I mean, as for what they do, they go and they put on a performance, right? Because the performance aspect, lots of choreography, all of those things is very pertinent in K-pop.
Yeah.
Like every promoted song is like gonna have like a performance aspect to it. So it's different than a celebrity going and just like singing their song. And maybe they create a performance for like a certain thing, like maybe they're gonna perform at the Grammys, so they like create a performance for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in K-pop, they just are always gonna have like a dance, and if they don't have a dance, sometimes they don't, and they'll still go on the music shows. But like most of the time, they've got their dance, they've got everything going on with that already planned out, and then they go to the music shows and do that.
Yeah. And something interesting that actually does come up quite a bit is it's not only K-pop on
True.
music shows. It's clearly the most common and kind of what they are like, typically for is promoting the K-pop songs. But there have been like even Western pop artists perform on these shows before. It's not common at all, but it has happened. And it's also relatively common actually to have soloists that are, ballad singers or trot singers perform on music shows. And they have, bands and stuff like that too.
True.
So if they do promote, like, let's talk about K-pop. So if a K-pop group does promote their title track, then, they would release the title track and they would have, their styling, the stage design. They'd go do the performance, and then it would either, like, you'd watch it on TV, you'd be in the live audience, or you would watch it back on an upload. But there's a lot more that goes into that, which we will get to later. But as far as the comeback, when that happens, they do have comeback specials oftentimes. And sometimes that involves like extra content that's produced by the music channel. Like Mnet does that a lot. Mnet has M Countdown. And so when a group makes a comeback, they'll have their comeback stage, but it could also be the comeback special, and it's like they do an activity. It's like an entertainment show, and then they'll do like maybe 3 of their songs. And oftentimes I think those are actually recorded in advance. So like that's a thing. There is pre-recording and live broadcasts. So sometimes, like, it's a mix, really.
Yeah. Some things that you're watching were pre-recorded. Some things, well, I mean, it's maybe not live, you're watching it on YouTube, but, it was a live recording.
Yeah. And so that's something that goes into it as well. If it is a live broadcast, like, they usually always have fans in the audience, but we'll, I guess, explain that side of it later as well. But, basically a default, like the standard, like you were saying, idea if a group has a comeback is, okay, they're going to be promoting on music shows. But lately, it seems to have declined a little bit, right? Like, it
Definitely.
seems like there's not as much promo. Like, they don't go on every music show. They don't promote for very long. And it's definitely trending towards not as much promo as it used to be. And again, we will explain maybe some reasons why that is. But is there anything else to talk about, like, about the actual promotions? I'd like to say that there are MCs on music shows, if, like, again, you're not familiar with them at all, and most of the time the MCs will be actual idols, but they also usually have, like, an actor or an actress, they'll, like, usually pair idols with an actor, so that's a thing. And they'll have, like, different tasks, but most of them are just introducing the performance and maybe giving, like, a small interview.
Yeah, they'll just give like a mini little interview where they ask them like one or two things about promoting the song, and then they throw it over to a performance.
Yeah. Obviously, those MC segments, bits that they do are scripted, and so oftentimes you'll see the idols practicing, like rehearsing their lines if you watch some behind content at a music show. But it's also like something I'm kind of surprised is still a thing that they have carried on, but I guess it's sort of tradition to have the MCs. But it's like they haven't lost the, like, no offense, but sort of cringe element to the MCing either. Like, the scripts are very over the top, and it's like, MCs kind of behave like that generally, though, don't they? Like,
yeah,
it's
I
very
guess.
over the top. So it just, it has its own uniqueness in that sense as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like news reporters have like their news reporter voice and their news reporter like style.
Yeah.
They make the music show MCs have like music show MC style.
Yeah, definitely. And so they'll also do like a performance, even, the MCs that aren't idols will do a song when it's like, usually they do one when they are newly becoming an MC, and then right before they stop being an MC.
Yeah, it's like not a rite of passage, but it's like we expect a performance from you now, so you have to do one. And you're like, okay, I guess I have to do one.
Yeah. And then I guess I would mention ending fairies, because that's a pretty big part now of being on a music show, but it wasn't a thing, like, even as recently. We've known about K-pop for a long time now, or like been interested in it, but it wasn't a thing back when we first got interested. So it was kind of, interesting to see it become a thing.
Yeah, and now it's like, kind of the standard. Like, at the end of the performance, you're gonna get probably 1 to maybe like 3 close-up shots of ending fairies. Like, they have to include an ending fairy. If the performance just cuts and ends, it's like, oh, no ending fairy?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about an actual fairy. The ending fairies is when, like I said previously, we might have been watching a performance, and when the performance ends, it's done. Like, that's the end of the video. That's the end of the clip.
Like, usually it would end with like a group shot or something, or like, just, the song and choreography is over, and then the clip ends. Yeah,
like someone finishes dancing, then it's over, right?
Yeah.
But the ending fairy, it slowly started to become more popular. Like, they would add one here and there. I'd be like, oh, this video has an ending fairy. But now it's much more standard, I'd say, where they will pick like one person, or they'll cycle through a couple of people that they give a close-up shot to when the performance is done. So everyone stops and they're like doing their pose at the end of their dance, and it does a close-up of one person, and then maybe usually that person like does some extra like, you know, posing, facial expressions, things like that, waves to the camera maybe.
Yeah.
And they're called the ending fairy. So like I said, there's no other thing being involved. There are no fairies, no fairy imagery. It's just what the idol is called that gets featured at the end, the ending fairy.
Right. And it's definitely become very prevalent, very unique to K-pop, and especially with like the late 4th gen and 5th gen groups. If you watch their content, you'll hear them being like, oh, like I gotta practice for my ending fairy, because nowadays I don't feel like it started that way, but now they'll like talk about how, oh, I know I'm going to be one of the ending fairies today. So it's like you get notified in advance to like prepare your poses. But for a while, you know, when it was kind of starting, it would do a close up of an idol, but it would be like, you know, the heavy breathing type of thing.
Yeah, so, like people didn't do extra posing.
Yeah, so then like that kind of became a meme. And,
oh yeah,
like people would like pretend to finish the performance on a music show, and like they'd like, you know, breathe heavily and look exhausted from the performance. And then like, you know, Key from Shiny was kind of extra memeing it and being like, oh, this didn't used to be a thing, but now it's a thing, so I'm gonna get like pieces of paper out, and like people would have little props sometimes, but now it's kind of looking good, doing your poses and like being the ending fairy, and it's like a big moment.
Yeah, I think it must have been crazy for Key and other idols like from his generation, because they must have done so many music shows where that did not happen, and now all of a sudden, oh, you're gonna show me at the end and I'm supposed to do something. Like that's not, I haven't been doing that for how many years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's funny that he would be the type of person that would like, you know, really be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
For sure, I'll do this.
Yeah. So personally, I was getting a little tired of the ending fairies for a while, because it just so was not a thing. And then it's like, okay, we get it, the ending fairies. Because sometimes they'll show like, you know, I guess it's good if they show every member, and then it's like some, like it's not like you're leaving some of the members out, but if there's like however many members in the group there are, it could get to be a lot, and then they like, it's that much time added on to the end, and it's like just to see them stand and pose, and it's like, obviously if you don't want to watch that part you don't have to. But I've also like kind of started to see it as, well, it's a good way to see like their makeup up close, or their hair, or like something about their outfit. And like when Studio Choom started doing the ending fairies, I was like, well, come on, do they need to do it here? But it's like, it's such high quality, you can see their makeup better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I definitely, when I saw the Studio Choom ones, I'm like, okay, like I'm clicking away. Like this is so unnecessary. I don't need to see ending fairies on Studio Choom. That's not even a music show. Like it just seems weird because it's not the same type of thing. But yeah, no, Studio Choom, like that's the, you know, best quality that I can think of that you can get to watch those sort of things. So you definitely can, like, if there's a good place to get a close-up, that would be it.
Yeah. So now maybe we should mention sort of like a big element of the music shows, which is winning on music shows. These shows aren't just to see the performance. Most of them, like I said, simply K-pop or simply contour, whatever you want to call it. I think it is called both things now. That doesn't have like the winning system, but you can win on these things.
There's a competition aspect. That in and of itself is going to have some positives and negatives to it. But how exactly does it work? Because I feel like it works a little different for different shows, right?
Yes, definitely.
But there's like anything from like live voting, judges scoring, sales of albums, plays of the song. All those things can be like a factor in whether a group wins on the music show or not.
Yes, so that's definitely true. some music shows have like certain apps that the fans have to download to vote for the groups, and so that can be a big part of it. But like chart positions of the song can be a big part of it as well. And so when a group wins on a music show, it's seen as a really good thing, and getting a first win is very significant for a K-pop group.
Yes, and I feel like once again there is different significance depending on different things. For instance, if you are a group from a very big company that is going to have a very strong debut because it's just going to be very known from the start, a first one is probably going to come a lot quicker and therefore be a lot less relevant. A group from a small company, their first win is going to mean a lot. And then sometimes the companies even, I mean, at least back in the day, they would give specific stipulations isn't the right word. Companies would literally be like, we're not going to like let you guys have this privilege or like move forward to this degree or whatever until you get your first win.
Yes.
Like I think it was Monsta X literally was like not supposed to have cell phones until they got their first win.
Yeah.
But this was like, quite a few years ago at this point. So I don't know if they do that kind of thing anymore. I'm pretty sure everyone has a cell phone always in this day and age. But yeah, so like that's how important it can be viewed though for certain groups and certain companies. It's like, no, we have to get a first win.
Yeah. And so it's kind of just like your status elevates that much more. You're respected that much more. Your company treats you maybe a little bit better. Who knows? But that's why, we really wanted Pentagon to get a first win. And we're like, come on, let's give them a first win. Show them that their music is appreciated. Maybe they'll get more comebacks if they finally get a win, because maybe the company would be like, oh, okay, you've won now. You've proven yourselves. Even though, it's really doesn't matter that much. Like, not to the fans, I don't think. It's like, we know your music is good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of annoying. Like, there are definitely some annoying aspects of the whole thing. But getting a first win is very important. And if you do win, you get to do an encore stage. So they'll, like, play your song and you go out there and sing it. But, like, all of the acts that performed on the music show that day will like gather on the stage, and then the MCs will announce the winner, and then they perform.
Yes, and that's usually a performance that I don't want to say people don't take it seriously, but I feel like usually the group likes to plan something to be like a special, funny thing to reward the fans. If we win, we will do this. If we win, we will, put on these silly costumes. If we win, we will lift this one person up into the air. If we win, we'll like put lipstick on each other's faces, like things like that.
Yeah, it can be an extra opportunity for the fans to, have an experience of seeing the song be performed again during the encore stage. And it's extra fun if they do those like little things, like, because they'll prepare in advance. If like, oh, we win today, we're gonna do this, and then the fans get to see them do that.
Yeah, imagine seeing, like, you go to see your favorite group perform, but then also they win, so they get to come back and you get to see them a second time.
Yeah. So that's winning on a music show. It's important. Remember it. Don't forget it. Moving on. We got to talk about the bad stuff.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Because, like we said before, music show promotions seem to be declining a bit. And there are probably countless, unfortunately, reasons why that's happening. So we don't want to dwell on the bad, but we're going to maybe explain a little bit why music shows are not so great, right?
Yeah. I'd say the first thing is, kind of what we just talked about. The competition aspect, in a way, can be bad. because it is great if they get that win, but for there to be so much riding on a win can be it seems like it can be detrimental to groups sometimes. Like it's been this long and you haven't gotten a win. Well, to the company, maybe to the public, maybe even to the group morale, maybe that can mean something, that can be impactful. And then also the like the fan not fan synergy, not fan interaction, like fandoms between each other. I'm saying, breeding that competition aspect, and like, no, we voted so hard and like we don't want that other group to win. That's a bit, it can be a bit scary at times, like for the fans themselves to be that competitive with each other.
Yeah, it can definitely get a little bit tense sometimes, especially when it comes to lining up for the music shows and actually watching the performances, because I don't really know how often like it happens. Like, I don't know if it's the majority of the time or not, but there will be a mixture of fans in the audience. And so an unfortunate tactic that some, fans, I guess you could call them, they don't really seem like fans if they're doing that. They're obviously not fans of the groups that they're actually going to see, but they will, like, there's a whole system to lining up and being able to actually watch a performance as a fan at a music show. A lot of times it has to do with like being in the fan cafe, and it will be like some sort of lottery system or something like that. But fans will enter the music show in the line of a group that has fewer fans, but they'll actually be there to see like a bigger artist. But since there are less fans lined up to see the other group, they'll like, and they know maybe it's going to be a mixed audience, they'll go, but they'll really be there for the bigger group, the more known group, which is really unfortunate.
Despicable. And like, yeah, the fandoms for K-pop can tend to be more I don't mean exclusive in the sense that it's harder to get into it, but I mean, I suppose for fan cafes and stuff, yeah, even that. But I mean, like, you might think, oh, I love like this artist and this artist and this artist, or like we have a whole bunch of groups that we talk about. But like if you're like one of the fans going to the music show, it's oftentimes like that's the only group that you care about.
Yeah, like it's seen as kind of like, this is the group that you're a fan of.
Yeah, you have to pick one.
Yeah. So it can definitely be a little bit tense in that aspect. And it can also be bad because of how long fans have to wait in line. And it can also be bad for the groups because of how long they have to wait. And rookies, I do believe, generally get worse treatment. I mean, we talked about that in the winning aspect, but like, I think that they have to wait even longer. Their fans will have to line up like in the middle of the night. I think like any group could really have that. It just depends, I think. But it's probably more common for like there to be bad times for like rookie groups and like the fans and stuff like that. So that's another thing, is the general like the waiting, the long hours at the music shows.
Yes, it can be a very tiring and taxing experience, just like promo time in general. Like back in the day when it was like, we're going to be going on every music show, like it's one a day, and it seems like, based off of the information that we can see, that oftentimes it's kind of like a whole day affair for a group. Like, get there early morning and get in your hair and makeup, and then because you have to do like sound checks or those sorts of things.
Like there's like multiple different camera rehearsals and stuff, and then like the real rehearsal, and then like the live performance. Like a whole bunch of stuff goes into it.
Yeah, so you spend your whole day doing that, but then if you do another one the next day at a different music show, then like it's like you have no break, you have no rest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very tiring, like especially the more, the more shows that a group does in a certain amount of time.
Right, which is why we have seen more recently idols that have been in the industry for a relatively long time speaking about like the things that happen at music shows and like how exhausting it can be and how you're doing so much to prepare for it. You're putting so much cost into it and you're getting so little in return. But I do think there is some that you could get in return, which we'll talk about on more of like the good or like better side of music shows. But apparently there is very little pay if you're a relatively like new or unknown group. I'm sure the pay is a little bit better if you're a more popular group, but I guess there's a lot of cost that goes into it for not getting much back from it. And it can definitely be exhausting to just wait around that long, even like not even to get up and like have your hair and makeup done. Like that can be exhausting on its own, but also just the waiting aspect.
Yeah, like okay, now I'm ready and I just have to sit here and wait. Like we're just here the whole day waiting.
Yeah. Also, some companies will like invest more to try to make the experience better. Like they can pay the music shows to get a better stage design or something like that. Some companies don't even send their idols, which is what we're talking about, like because they're like, we don't see a point in this anymore. We don't see the point in investing this much for, what we'll get back from it. So not only are smaller companies doing that, but like bigger popular companies are just not sending their artists as much anymore. They're not doing like a full 3-week promo period because they're like, well, we don't really like have the popularity that we need to gain from this, and it's so exhausting and we don't see the point of sending our idols like on these shows, like making them wait around, making it be such long hours, like to get this from it.
Yeah. So on the one hand, you think, okay, well, yeah, that's good that they don't have to do such long promo times. That's good. But it's kind of a little bit sad, if you don't get to see as much content out of it. But also it's a little scary to see like the music shows being not cast aside, but like to see them being like valued less and less, because I do like it as like an aspect, so if it's like, oh well, we are not going to do it because we can't really afford it, and like it's not, we need more help, and then other big groups to be like, well, we're not going to do it because it's a waste of our time, we don't need that, and then it's like, okay, so if nobody's going to do it, then they're just going to die.
I mean, it does kind of seem like music shows are dying out a little bit because, like, not many people probably watch the broadcasts on TV.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They probably just watch, like, what we do, the uploads on YouTube or something like that. And, I think it was NCT Dream that was talking about it when they were deciding what other song they were going to promote. They were talking about how many people really watch the entire music show start to finish anyway. So it's like,
oh wow,
is it even a good, like for a smaller group maybe, it's like how beneficial would that be? Because if they don't know us already, are they even going to see our performance at all? Like unless they're there in the live audience, like who's going to click on our video to watch it?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So definitely seems like, there could be a change. Like there either needs to be a change to make it a better experience so that music shows can continue,
more beneficial and stuff like that.
Yeah, or it might like stop being a thing. Like it might only happen for a comeback special or something like that. I don't know. But there are some good things to it. like in the fact that it makes K-pop stand out. It's something unique to K-pop. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. When I was thinking of the positives, the pros for this, the first thing, maybe ironically, that came to mind was, so I put an asterisk next to it, high quality. Or maybe I should have put a question mark. We talk about the quality being bad for certain music shows, especially with the audio, a lot. But what I meant kind of was like, if you want to see like a live performance from a group, like what other options really would there be? Like a concert or like fan meeting type of recording, I guess, that's going to be like a fan cam. That's, not going to give you like the camera angles, the lighting, maybe even the costuming that a stage performance is going to give you. So that's what I meant by high quality, is like being able to see the performance in like the staged way.
Yes.
I really like that.
Me too. That's a good point. I do enjoy seeing the camera work, although sometimes I can't see anything at all because it's done so poorly.
That's true.
But, generally, like, sure, there will be other opportunities to see like the performance, like, the player color thing, stuff like that. Those are popping up a little more, maybe because music shows are, declining in popularity. Who knows? But, music shows, the way they are done is very specific. Like each music show kind of does it a little differently, but some places have better camera work than others. Some places have better audio than others. But it's still very unique to K-pop. And we kind of know that because if they go abroad and they do a live performance somewhere where like this is so like the quality of it is not the same. Like the quality of a music show can be bad, but the other, like the random talk shows or something that they'll go on abroad are so much worse. And it's like, well, what are they doing that's so different on these music shows? Because they're clearly highlighting it in a better way somehow.
Yeah, it's terrible. I just even just the fact that other, like you're saying, abroad sort of programs, just the amount of times and focus that they highlight the audience rather than the performance. It's I want to see the performance. I know that they have fans. That's why you've got them on your show. Like so I don't, but like, and you're saying that there's studio chum, player color, those sorts of things as well, where you could see camera angles and that sort of aspect. It's not the same. It's not the same because they're not like performing for an audience, like as if they're performing. It's more, it's a studio. It's just got a different vibe.
Yeah.
And then also those things don't ever have like a set or like background, detailing of any kind.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that makes music shows so fun, is to be able to see, even if the background is just like those LED screens, like with a graphic on them, still like it's giving you a different vibe than when you watch the ones where it's like a white room with colored lights, a white room with different colored lights. Like, so yeah, the music stages, and like if they go on the talk show sort of route, talk shows, like I said, the camera angles are different, and like who they're like what they're focusing on.
Yeah.
But also the background, obviously there oftentimes is not any special background for that, but also oftentimes there isn't even space. Like they don't even have a real stage to perform on.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, it's purposefully and specifically set up for this, and like they have what they need, they have the space they need. They're not dancing in a cramped space. They've got a like cool, interesting background going on. Yeah. So I can't think of any other like things that can replace music show vibes, like, you know, all the other options, it's like they're also good in their own way maybe, but none of them replace the music show to me.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes those like screens, you'll be like, this is so distracting. Like, this is like, why does it look so like weird, and like why did they choose this as the screen for the background? But at the same time, sometimes it can be so bad that you're like, oh, this is like funny. Like, why is the background like cows and smiley faces? Like, but it just like adds to it. But a lot of the times, especially if, you know, the budget is higher, they'll have a really cool, interesting set. And so music shows can be an opportunity to enhance the concept of the comeback.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, like with the set and the styling and everything. It's an extra element to the story, and I think that's something that's really unique to K-pop and music shows.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even think about that. Like, there's certain songs where if you think about like the vibe of the song, like a lot of it can come from like what the background and styling like added when you were seeing them on music stages.
Yeah. And, you know, if they have a comeback special, that will be an extra chance to add to the story, because they'll, like I said earlier, usually do more than one song. And so it's like you kind of get the pieces added together, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is the vibe of the comeback and the concept that they're going with. And so that's something that I just really enjoy about it. And so I would be a little bit disappointed, although I know, like, you know, all of the other aspects about the music shows, but like I'd be a little disappointed to see them go completely because of what they can be good for.
Yeah, I would much rather we can see some way that they get improved and get to be more beneficial so that people value them again.
Yeah.
So that we can still see the stages and stuff like that. Like they maybe don't need to have like, I don't even know how many Shine Pentagon stages there are, because I know they extended their promo, but yeah, there's like so many that you almost feel like there's an endless supply.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need that many, but to just see like one or two, I do wish we could see more than that.
Yeah, but I definitely, like, when I was first getting into K-pop, it was something that made it stand out to me, because I was like, I haven't seen this type of thing done this way anywhere else. But it's also, like we were talking about earlier, like you were saying, it's a good opportunity for the fans to see more of the performance. Like, they can see them live, and sure, like, there are even, like, you know, big groups aside that, you know, don't go on the music shows because it's like, well, why bother, sort of thing. The smaller groups that might not go on it, like, could be not going on it and having performance opportunities at, like, you know, a small little venue type of thing, instead of, well, spending however much money to promote on the music show, like, we're just going to promote to this small audience at this venue type of thing. But, you know, the fans at the music show audience, like, they have time to chat a little bit while they're, like, you know, waiting for the next, you know, performance, because, like we said, they'll do it more than once. And so I just think it's, you know,
community building.
Yeah. Like, and so that's something that is good about it. And the general promo, like, you can get good promo from being on a music show.
Definitely, especially if something iconic happens,
Mm-hmm.
you know, some like, there's so many aspects that I'm like just remembering right now, because the fan cams have become such a more like standard part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, that can really, like, if you have a fan cam that goes viral, you know, you get that fan cam on that one idol in your group that like goes 200% when they're on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It goes viral and you get tons of fans from that. Like,
Yeah.
That's good.
It can literally be like a major, like, you know, boost to your group. And, you know, if you have really out there styling, it can't, and like you go on the music show, it'll be like, oh wow, who's that group? And it can actually help in turn, like, you know, increase their chart position. More people will stream the song, which can lead to wins. There's just more chances to have a viral moment when they promote on a music show, it seems. Because
Definitely.
especially like you're talking about with the fan cams, so many people go viral for their facial expressions and their stage presence and like even their skills. Like if they're doing it live and people are like, wow, they have such great live performance.
Oh yeah, that's another good point, is that the things like Studio Choom, they're just doing a dance performance. They're not singing for those things.
Yeah.
Whereas on the music shows, a lot of times groups will be doing a live performance. So you're getting to see them sing and dance. Whereas a lot of other things, you have lots of opportunities to see the group dance. I don't feel like you necessarily have as many opportunities to see them sing their song and dance it at the same time, which I'm like, isn't that the point?
Yeah.
I just feel like the, you know, live performance aspect of these things is so significant. Like, seeing them sing and dance live, and it's not I don't even mean live as in it was a live broadcast. I just mean like in front of an audience and stuff. Like something that is less produced, that has like retakes, that sort of thing. A live audience, so you're getting the energy from the live audience. Another factor to add in, fan chants.
Yes.
You know? I just feel like the fan chants, like that's such a special, specific thing to K-pop, and it adds another level of energy. It adds in, like, you know, like it gives the performers energy so that they, you know, perform differently. Hearing the fan chant, sometimes they're more energized. And also it is like the viewers that are watching, you know, we get a different feeling when we hear the fan chants coming through in the background.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first saw K-pop performances like this, I was like, what is happening? I'm like, why are the people screaming? Like, but not screaming like screams, screaming like a chant.
Yeah, it could be a little like take you back a little bit to hear a fan chant for the first time, but it adds so much. Like I love being able to clearly hear fan chants when I'm watching a music show stage.
Me too.
Because it like it's like it just adds something to it that you don't get other places unless, you know, yeah, it's like a concert or something like that. And how many opportunities do you have to see like that sort of thing regularly?
Exactly, yeah. It's like those are going to be so much less regular. I feel like the camera and lighting and everything is going to be worse. The costumes probably aren't going to be as elaborate. And if it's a small group, especially, like how many concerts are they even going to get?
Also, like along with band chants, it's another opportunity to use the light stick.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, I feel like I've kind of touched on it a few times throughout here, but just let me like specifically state the fashion aspect, the outfits. I just love seeing the outfits for music stages. You know, I love seeing what vibe they're going for, what different pieces they have. You get to see them in like a nice way a lot of the times. You know, like it's clear to be able to see what they're wearing. Their outfits like will be stylized together. Like, you know, maybe you see someone wearing some cool thing at some point randomly, but like to see a group stylization, like I love to see like a whole group styled together. And yeah, I don't know. I know some groups have elaborate costumes for concerts, like Blackpink has some and stuff like that, but
Red Velvet.
But like I just feel like sometimes with music stages you can do something that's a little bit like, you know, it doesn't have to hold up to like a whole night of performing, right? So like you can do something a little different. Like it's an opportunity to wear things that maybe you wouldn't pick for a concert, and that is like dressier and more elaborate than you would pick for something simpler.
Yeah. And we did talk about in the past how that could be a little bit problematic. It could be a little bit like, well, music shows only add opportunity for like injury from clothing or something like that. But I mean, generally speaking, it is a good opportunity to have some different styling.
Yeah. And then there's like one final aspect to music shows that we want to talk about that's not even really the music show itself. It's more about the going to music shows aspect.
And that's like behind content that you get at a music show. Sometimes from the actual music show, like Show Champion, will have behind content, lots of behind content. You'll get to see like the idols doing specific activities in like the waiting room. You'll get to see them like answering a couple questions backstage, but it's in like a very casual manner. And Countdown, they have like the thumbnail game that they'll play different games to decide who will be the thumbnail for the, you know, performance. So there's like specific to music show things, and like, you know, MCs even will have content like vlogs or stuff. But then there's like content from the official group, like their YouTube channel, stuff like that.
Yeah, the companies and like groups get to have more uploads on their channel, like more content being produced because they just film like backstage, you know, waiting area, dressing room, like I don't mean backstage, like, you know, behind the curtain sort of vibe. Like the day that they spend at the music show, they film a couple clips. The next day they film a couple clips, and then they compile them all into like, this was our promotion week, like, you know, this is some behind the scenes footage. And that's always just really fun and really interesting to see.
Yeah, that's some of my favorite K-pop content to watch. It's music show behind content.
And I feel like, you know, if they didn't have that, then like they don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, like there's less content. It's like it's like an easy like, oh, okay, we're going to be going to a music show, so we're going to film a little.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I love the aspect of like, because at music shows, there's more than one group that have gathered there for the day to be filming. So there's like a community aspect where groups are going to be interacting with other groups that are there. Like, especially nowadays in shorts era, like groups will go to another group and film some shorts together. And so you see like, you know, if people were only going to Studio Choom, like those studio filming things, people are only getting content from their concerts, you wouldn't have that interaction of different K-pop groups interacting with each other as much.
Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of forgot about that, like, side of it, but that's like such a fun little like nuance to music shows, I guess. I don't know.
I think it just adds to the vibe in a similar way that you were saying the fans get like that extra aspect of community to go and interact with each other. The idols get that extra aspect of community to interact with each other.
Yeah, kind of like the Isaac.
Oh yeah,
which
they
isn't
also
a thing.
don't do anymore.
Yeah, and like also that had a lot of like waiting around too and stuff. So I could understand why they would not do it anymore, I guess. But, you know, they both have such a specific vibe. And, you know, it's something like, yeah, I do miss that they didn't have one this year or like last year and stuff. And if they didn't have the music shows anymore, if like groups don't go on it as much, I'm like, oh, it's kind of disappointing that they're not promoting on music shows this much.
Yeah. I don't see what the big deal is anyway about people saying to wait around, like they have to wait around for things like the music show and the Isaacs all day, because it's a limited time event. It's not like it's something that they're doing every day of their work life. It's just for like a week or like a couple of days, and they know what's going to happen. And I'm sure other jobs have that sort of aspect as well.
I mean, I guess. I'm sure that it is also different for different groups and different idols, and some idols probably handle the promoting like on music shows better than other ones do. It's probably like easier for some people to do that. Some people probably really don't like that aspect of it at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I guess that is all that we'll talk about today, though, about music shows. So hopefully you learned something new, maybe found what we were talking about interesting, anything like that. And if you did, be sure to like the video on YouTube and leave us a comment and let us know what you enjoyed about this episode.
Also follow us on Spotify if you're there already. Hello, hi, Spotify listeners.
And if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to BlushCat and turn on notifications. Please and thank you. And if you are on Spotify, or if you're not and you just followed us now because we kindly asked you to, you can follow all of the BlushCat playlists as well. There is a new Sunny Day playlist with lots of bright and fun K-pop songs, but there's also some more chill and relaxed sort of songs on there for you to enjoy listening to.
Yeah, and also go check out some music stages, see which ones you like, see what they're all about.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that if you watch Inkigayo, you're not going to get good audio.
Yep.
But you probably get the best stage outfits.
Yeah, that's true. Why is that always the case? Like, some of the worst quality performances have, like, the best styling.
I don't know.
It's just the way the music show world works.
Yep, there's always a balance. So, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode.
This has been Pagatraya, Amandanson, Makkronnie, Yartkinfin.
And me. Bye.
Meow 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 meow.